Sometimes I've been there and there are people hanging out and I never really am sure.
What's going on?
So okay. All right, guys. Well, we're just, we all just migrated over from the red light district, not doing what you think we were doing.
That's an interesting segue, yeah.
They don't get started till 10 a.m.
It's pretty desolate around there.
Do you guys know that? Yeah. I was at the coffee shop, and
I lived
that
there,
kind of
neighbors.
coffee shop.
See,
I was
language
drinking
matters.
chai tea. Let me rephrase everything. Yeah.
But we,
No matter what, it's going to sound bad.
Yeah. So what we do is we have our business meetings in the red light district.
Strict at the coffee shop.
I live there.
Richard lives there.
That's how I make ends meet.
And anyway, so we go all sorts of things. We plan new programs. We plan this. It gives us a good way to have tasks and check boxes to bring new things to the table. But one of the things we brought up today, we wanted to bring up on the podcast. And that was something that we've always been, maybe not too loose on, but it's always been a dilemma with StrongFit, which is like, where does the name fit in with what we teach and what do you
the use
learn and
of
do
the
and
name.
use?
Yeah, the use of the name. That was kind of the issue.
Yeah. So we've kind of come up with our standing policy for now?
Fight Club rules.
Fight Club rules. And
the first rule of Fight Club is
you don't get to use the name Fight Club?
Exactly. We don't talk about Fight Club. So, no, steal the shit, don't use our name.
Yeah. I think that as a fundamental thing has been, I think it's important. We want to encourage people to steal the shit. That's the nature of it. That's why we talk on the podcast. That's why we give it away. Use it, apply it, learn it.
Knowledge is stolen, man.
Yeah.
And I think we want people to understand the fundamentals. And like that's what, and I say this every fucking podcast, I feel. Every time people are like, we're doing a StrongFit class, we like your methodology. And I'm like, it's not a methodology. I was like, I train dudes that have never trained in their lives. I train dudes that are professional boxers. I train, every single discipline out there.
Yeah.
You train
using
people.
The StrongFit principles, but I never say, hey, these are the StrongFit principles I go by. Is I explain to them how the principles apply to their body just by teaching them about themselves.
Yeah.
Like I never bring up anything other than this is how you should move. And if you're moving correctly, you're going to feel these muscles, and you know what I mean? And so I think that that's the biggest thing is once you understand the fundamental principles, it allows you to have more value within who you are as a coach and as a person, which allows you to give a better experience to those that you work with.
Yeah, but I use the word phylogenetic hierarchy, I use the word internal torque and all that stuff. And honestly, it's for you all to steal. What I don't want is someone out there teaching the phylogenetic hierarchy because chances are they're going to fuck it up.
Or they're just reciting your words, which,
right. But
which
they don't understand.
Which then makes them much less useful to their people because they don't have the understanding. We talked about it, if you can't explain it in your words,
right.
in your own words, then how comprehensive is your understanding?
So therefore, steal the shit, don't use the name.
Yeah.
So, and when we say the name, I mean, don't use the word phylogenetic hierarchy, don't use the words like all the stuff or
your clients don't care.
Yeah,
they don't
that
give
is
a fuck.
very true.
Like you fall into that same trap as you find something cool and it's important to you and it registers to you, and you go to try to impart that on your clients, and it's the same thing as reciting fucking tendon names and specific muscle names down to the deal. They don't care. Tell them how to move. Tell them what to feel. Like that's fundamentally is how we want StrongFit to be taught is in execution. Not just words, and not your words. Because you can teach it in your words.
What
Someone
I want
else
for StrongFit is just people to get knowledge. Just steal the knowledge. That's from the Ramen Heads. You know, that documentary I talk about all the time. He said, no, you have to steal knowledge. Yeah, and I believe that 100%. There's a lot of people out there that are using the StrongFit stuff without giving us credit.
Yeah.
Now, I get annoyed once in a while. Like, I wouldn't mind those people say, I heard that idea from StrongFit. Yeah. I'm happy. But on the other side, what I don't want is people saying, well, like StrongFit said this, StrongFit said phylogenetic hierarchy, StrongFit said the wheel, StrongFit, I mean, and no, you cannot teach it at your gym. You can use it, again, you can steal the shit, you just can't use a name. Therefore, you can't just take those words and teach it at your gym. I understand that you love the stuff and you're being very kind to us by wanting your members to know about all this. Then just say, you got it from StrongFit here and there, but don't use the words. Like, chances are you're going into subjects you don't fully understand. Yeah. Just because I explain things in a very simple way, that's what I'm good at, does not mean the stuff is not complex. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or hard to understand. Like, I make complex ideas fairly clear, hopefully anyway. But that doesn't mean you get to take one podcast and then go teach that to your member. It's not how it works. At least if you use your own words, I know you put some thought into it.
Yeah. Let's use the phylogenetic hierarchy as an example, because I think it's a very, very important thing to the base. A lot of things we do with StrongFit, but it's not a thing that is beneficial because it's not going to be beneficial if people talk about it more. The point is, if you're a coach and you want to use what you learn of the phylogenetic hierarchy, you should program with movements and with the right constraints, impart and communicate the right intent to put people in the right state. And you're teaching the balance and constraining the system and knowing where it's going to go. They don't need you to explain it like you're in fucking med school. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's
no, and not even that. If you're teaching the phylogenetic hierarchy, that means that you understand your own states.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you're trying to understand your own states while you're training, you're already in the flight state. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's things where people
just
you're
thinking
about it
doing the sled, you're not doing the sled.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is like understand and experience the things completely before you start just regurgitating information that you can't back up.
Yeah.
And by back up, I mean with action, not with just words upon words upon words. And then you start getting fancy and poetic. And then out of nowhere, you have this whole explanation out of just push the sled and die.
Yeah. And I think that once we start going down to if we're simply explaining things with words as opposed to, no, apply this, learn this lesson via action instead of me just explaining the lesson. I think that when you go the words route, you only end up having to defend more shit to defend. You give yourself way more to defend. As a coach, I think it's very important to impart experience and knowledge that way than it is to just speak, because then you're going to be stuck in this route where now you're speaking and defending and speaking and defending.
The problem with that is this circular reasoning.
Yeah.
For 99% of you out there, you falling into the trap of circular reasoning. Like if I had milk, I could make pancakes. If I had flour. Do you know what I mean? But no, you don't have it. So what I mean by that is like you to explain A, you use B, but to explain B, you use A.
Yeah.
That's circular reasoning, right? So you keep explaining an argument based on another words that you explain through the first one. That's circular reasoning. And they keep doing this. So they keep saying, well, parasympathetic, sympathetic, and they keep going in circle to explain the stuff. But at the end, I'm like, you're still not understanding what, for example, even if they go technical stuff, what parasympathetic and sympathetic. If I ask what's sympathetic, they say fight or flight. What's the difference? If you don't know the difference on a sled when you think about what you're doing versus, then you don't know what the fuck the difference is anyway. Yeah. Like this is a human thing, not a med school thing. I mean, so they're falling into a lot of traps. It's mostly, I'll take the blame for a lot of it because I go into all the theoretical stuff all the time and the complex stuff, and it looks very shiny and it's really cool to know, but there's all the background of all that stuff I don't explain.
Well, and when I go through, I've done this before. Let me check something real fast. Guys, come on.
At least once.
Julien was really killing it there. I gotta make sure this shit's rolling. Richard's teeth are brushed. It looks great.
Exactly. Like my cat.
Yeah. Hey, we didn't say what this is. I know it's gonna be late before people get this, but this is Richard's birthday.
This is Richard's birthday.
Richard.
Thank you.
Birthday boy.
Yeah.
Got any words you want to say? No, I'm just kidding. That's the terrible way to put someone on the spot. But
press the click button.
But as one of the things that I've
subscribe here, guys, for my birthday.
I think one of the things that we've done a lot over the last year or two, which is we try to figure out how to educate and how to put together subject matter for people and how to teach it, and we've gone through many iterations of it. The thing I always have run into is every time we try to build a thing that's specific, I start going and I compile content this, lesson this, subject this from podcasts, and I start building it with all the information that we have with StrongFit. And what I find is every time I start doing anything, my first inclination is it just becomes everything.
Yeah.
It's so hard. I can't count how many programs that I've put together where it's like, oh, well, let's try this, where we'll put together a subject specific thing, and I go through and it ends up turning into almost the entire StrongFit Bible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit. And so what I've found is, this is a thing that I've found with some of the coaching groups that we have done, is that it needs to be experience based. It does. Once you start explaining your way through things, you're explaining your way out of everything.
Right.
And I think that taking that, filling that
functional
gap
segregation
is
versus functional integration.
Yeah.
They need some explaining. So I'll always explain the theory because a background is necessary. But we run into that with the StrongFit certification. With the second we have a certification, we have to defend the name StrongFit. And on the other side, that means we have to be happy with the certification itself.
Yeah.
Coaches that will ask, then how do I get that? So now it becomes a test, it becomes an objective. They check the boxes, they are a StrongFit coach. We are not happy.
Yeah.
Because all you did is check the boxes. So now you're going to join the mentoring program just to be StrongFit certified, which means you're going to gain the fuck out of the system and never actually do the work that we want you to do. So now I'm unhappy that you're a StrongFit coach.
Yeah. And in the process, it becomes this like wild chase for to try to like, it's so hard to account for.
And now we have to defend the name left and right. And so we're going to scratch all that shit. It's all going to be constraint based.
Yeah.
It's powered by StrongFit. If you're on a mentoring program or working one-on-one, basically you ask.
Yeah.
Maybe you can use powered by StrongFit. You have to ask us.
Yeah.
Everything else, no. Don't use phylogenetic hierarchy. Don't use any of the name. Steal the shit. Don't use the name. Make up your own words for all that stuff. If you want to be nice and tag us on it or say, I learned this from StrongFit, I will be thankful, and that's all we want, but nothing past that.
Because my thing with to go back to the hierarchy is, what are you doing with it? Right? So talking about it, what are you doing with it? Are you changing how you train? How is that? What is that?
Yes.
Like, let's see what that looks like. And that is an experience. That is the conversation that I think should be had, not can you explain this as well or as effectively.
There's starting to be a gap between the phylogenetic hierarchy and how it is applied in training, which was the exact opposite of what I wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you have people are talking about freeze, and I'm like, do you know what that is?
Yeah.
And then we're going back to freeze in a sympathetic state, which is not. And shit like that, because people just now, what I don't want to become, I'm not the name names, but I want to become those certain gyms that we know that have all that fancy terminology now left and right. It's a marketing stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't want any of it.
They're shell buildings.
Yes.
They look very fancy on the outside, but on the inside, there's not much content behind it.
They're empty. So I don't want any of this. So, by the way, that was never the point of StrongFit.
Right.
Yeah.
Our system was a learning system.
Yeah.
So that's what it's going to be. Steal the shit. Don't use the name.
Yeah, and its substance is more important than packaging. And what we want for you, take the substance. Take the substance is the knowledge, and the knowledge is in the application. Yeah.
But because otherwise, also, if we start to go down that road, then they start to be more and more asking us, like, well, how do I do this? Like this, asking us more of us. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They go like, well, you didn't tell me this. Well, I'm certified and I don't know how to do that. How come? So then it becomes our fault that we didn't provide the structure for them to learn what they needed to learn to do the stuff.
Yeah.
So now they're using all this as a way to say, wasn't me.
It was them.
It was StrongFit.
I think too, like there is as a coach or a gym or whatever it is, or just as an athlete, your version of how you use StrongFit is the only part that matters, and that is yours. And that's been always the thing is you need to coach how you coach. You coach. This is me coaching you.
Yeah.
This is me coaching you. This is not me StrongFit coach coaching StrongFit to you, because what does that mean? What if I coach primarily fucking high school football players on strength? That application of the things I know in StrongFit is going to be very different as far as like the specifics of what's going on the ground. And so my understanding of StrongFit and my application of that is going to be truly mine. And that's what we want, is for you to find yours, which means
even if you use, if you use some exercise that I use, the mentality, the mindset that you have using them, if it's wrong, means you fucked it up entirely. Because if you go into, what do we say? I don't teach the squat. I teach that person to squat.
Yeah.
So if you teach the StrongFit way, you're already not teaching the StrongFit way. You already fucked it up.
Yeah, but that's like, I had an assessment last weekend, and we did the whole thing, and it was the psoas and the oblique, so we did work for it. He squatted without a problem, and then he was there a couple of days later, and he was doing back squats, and Julien was there, and he's like, just don't do this. It was like a very simple tweak, but it basically solidified what I was saying, just in a different manner. So it's completely different. Like the way that he teaches, the way that I teach, because I will never coach the way he does.
Yeah.
And he will never coach the way I coach. No. And that's the whole point. Yeah. It's like we're trying to build the identity of these coaches to be the best that they can be, not for them to be us.
We were talking about an athlete who says, oh, I hurt when I do this. And both of us exactly at the same time said, bicep opener. But he would get to it or even teach it differently than me. And who cares? At the end, we're both going to teach the bicep opener. And we're both going to get to it so different means. And at the end, the athletes will get exactly the same thing, which is moving better. Yeah.
Well, so the first rule, StrongFit.
Steal the shit, don't use the name.
Don't use the name.
Right, no, but seriously, and you certainly cannot charge for it. That I'm going to start to get upset about. If you start to teach the phylogenetic hierarchy, you make money off of it. Now we have a problem. Like, teach the phylogenetic hierarchy, make money. I want you to make money. I'm happy. You are not allowed to make money. You're not allowed. You do whatever the fuck you want. I can't stop you. If you ask me, I do not want you to go teach something that is called a phylogenetic hierarchy, the will, all that stuff, and make money off of it. Because if you fuck up somewhere, and you will, then it's on us. Then it's on us. I don't like that.
But you see it all the time. Like I see people, like I have people in their coaching things and they'll put it on social media. I was like, that's not even right. Like you fucked it up completely. And you have it on social media, but you have us tagged on it.
Yes.
And so now we're the ones that are the idiots. And it's like, no, dude, like you fucked it up.
No, but plus, like, you can't even use the peg stick correctly. Like, how hard is it? You know, they're like this, and they go, I'm doing this from StrongFit. I'm like, no, you're not, because that certainly is not the way I do it.
It's great. My elbows and my shoulders and my neck hurt.
And then after they go like, well, I did this, or I did the fucking template, and I lost 100 pounds on my deadlift and my squat in 8 weeks. I'm like, I don't even know how you can do that.
You just don't train and you could do better.
Exactly. So, and then suddenly I'm like, it's like, so now I want to go deeper in this conversation because now you're accusing me of something. Well, and I'm like, and I don't put this stuff out there for people to lose 100 pounds on their deadlift or squat. But that's the problem we're starting to face now. Is instead of saying, well, this happened, I was on vacation or what, like, just give me the entire context. And then so we can figure out why you lost 100 pounds so it doesn't happen again. But coming out and saying it's a template. I'm like, no, dude, you can't see, like, that's a finger pointing. And in today's world, that worries me. Because that people can't wait to get offended at something.
Well, anybody misrepresenting you is always tricky. It's the same thing we had talked about with, it was a thing we've always had to figure out was you do have a lot of really complex subject matter. And how do I put it anywhere? And the best way that I found is Julien and Julien's words. And everybody else's needs to be done via their own experience. That's it. Speak with your experience. Let's be honest,
a lot of that shit,
reciting what you saw on a whiteboard.
And a lot of that shit you don't need. A lot of the stuff that I talk about, which is probably 90% of it, you don't need.
Not now.
Let's be honest.
Certainly not now.
Maybe even ever. Like, do you need to go into where the noradrenaline is produced on controllable versus uncontrollable stress? I will always talk about it because I think it's, like, in order to go deeper into the stuff we do, I need to understand the principles better. But let's be honest, a lot of this shit you don't need. Now, you might want it, which obviously I agree because I want it as well. But we're all looking down because the cat is fucking with a charger.
I know how this is
getting bigger.
It's going to be okay.
Exactly. But to be a good coach, let's be honest, 90% of the shit that I talk about on the podcast, at least, you don't need. You could do the seminar. If you were to go to the seminar and understand the basic principle, the basic values of the seminar, this is the next 10 years of becoming an excellent coach. Just on that alone. You would be just fine.
If you simply experimented within the parameters that you saw there and kept an open mind about other things.
If you understand constraints versus objectives, you would become a better human being. Just constraint versus objectives. That alone, if you understand that truly for your life, you'll be a better human being.
There's a thing, I probably talked about it before. I've done many seminars on business, on sales, on fucking any number of things that are interesting and valuable and other things that are just neither. But the difference is always in what happens when you leave and do you really implement? And do you come off and do you take, and what we often do is this is the truth. While I believe the StrongFit seminar, the fundamental seminar is good, it's comprehensive, it's diverse, there is a lot to be gained there. I have never gone to a seminar or anything and right away bothered with anything more than one or two things after the fact. As far as like to actionably.
Or you implement it for 2 weeks and then it's gone.
Is that off of me? To actionably plug into my business. And so what I do is I would come back and we would say it would be a sales. It's like, okay, we're going to have a meeting about this once a week so we can check back in and it's going to go right here. And then we're going to force this in that within 2 weeks now this is up and running and this is how we do.
Yeah.
And then you move on to the next thing while still learning. And let me fix this microphone real quick.
But that's why we, by the way, to make Tyler's point, that's why we're having meetings.
Yeah.
Right now is because we have Amy who's helping us with the business side of it. Hi, Amy.
This is going to make noise for everybody.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, this is so there's a condom joke about this that I'm not
Somewhere.
going to make, but it just doesn't fit.
That's why you have a kid.
Right. Whatever.
No, you do. I made him. To make Tyler's point, the reason we're having the meeting is because that Amy was helping us with the structure of the business. The first thing she said is 2 meetings a week.
Yeah.
She didn't say that's what the meetings should be about. She didn't teach us about meetings. She's like, you're going to have 2 meetings a
Well,
week.
but because of how we are, is that we go to the thing and we're not going to sit there and talk about the weather. All right, so this thing that we do, that we have immersed our lives in,
Yeah.
how do we improve it now? And having the meeting later is like, okay, now we can check back in on, make sure that the needle's moving forward. And I think, though, that taking away from the seminar, walking away going, oh, shit, I have to know and understand all of StrongFit. Like, no, this is a long journey. Yeah. So come in and change the few things that you do. Constantly try to learn the other stuff, but from the application standpoint, not as a parrot. Because like being able to parrot
so
the
we
stuff
saw that
is
on
not
nutrition,
the
right?
Yeah.
People, like, for example, if you think you can teach a protocol to your clients without having done it yourself, you are sorely mistaken. By the way, nutrition, don't call it the StrongFit protocol. Still the shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very simple idea. Give it to your clients, take the credit.
Yeah.
I'm cool. Just don't go teaching the StrongFit protocol and fuck it up and start with a no-fix November, which is not the same thing as a protocol.
Not at all.
It is not the same thing.
I have heard that go on, and I'm like, you didn't give these fucking people a chance. No wonder they crashed. Like,
you didn't give me a chance.
Well, it means
you didn't even listen to my podcast.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You just have people do it.
You didn't even listen to the podcast. But then you do the protocol, and then you put carbs left and right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not what I said either. Yeah, but I know, but they like carbs. I'm like, and you know what? Do it that way. Just don't put my name to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Do your version of it. I want you to. But by the way, before you give it to your clients, do it yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not allowed. You're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want. Don't do it. Like, do it first to yourself and try to have carbs. Take away the carbs. Put the carbs back. Talking about one of my clients, she had just that. She decided to take a cheat day. But she's been on the protocol for like a good 3-4 months now. Guess how she felt?
Like a cat's asshole?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She felt horrible, right? And I was like, good. Because she went for it. She ate too much carbs, and she felt like shit. And I was like, that's great. That's the point of the protocol. Yeah, well, she's used to, There you go. There we go. She, and so, but that's part of experimenting with the protocol, by the way. You do it for 2 months, you take a cheat day, you feel like shit. Yeah. If you haven't experienced that, then you don't know how to make progress on the protocol, right? And so that's my problem is people that listen to the podcast halfway through find the stuff they want, like a Chinese menu. I'm going to put a little bit of this, but not that, right? Fine, but then they use a StrongFit name. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
That you can't do that shit.
And that's important.
And either you understand or you don't.
And like I talked about taking away from the seminar, a couple things and really working. It's like do that, but then you don't get to wave your StrongFit flag. And I think that's an important thing when we talk about how we want to change the way people think about fitness, and how they think about coaching, and how they think. We want to change how those things are done on the ground level. I do not want to change the banner you fly in your fucking gym. I don't care. That does not mean you to abandon. It means you need to change the way you teach the thing that you do.
That's what we
So
do.
you can be better at the thing that you do. You don't need to be better at the thing I do.
Remember the rules of Fight Club.
Yeah.
The point was to change society, not just create a gym that's called Fight Club, which of course now they do. Which is the irony of all, right?
Really?
Yeah, of course, there's Fight clubs now, which is the irony of all. The guy wanted to burn society to the ground, which he does at the end of the movie.
There's an app, and I think you have to pay a membership, but you can find people to fight, and you meet at the streets and you fight each other.
I'm not surprised.
But there's an actual app. They monetized it.
What is it? There's a couple states in the U.S. that are mutual combat states that I just am in love with that idea. Yeah. The fact that it's not is insane. Like, let's be reasonable. Someone will stop the fight. No weapons, whatever.
No weapons. Oh, fuck. Come on. Whatever. I'm all for it.
Two men agree to fight. My issue, I did watch this. I'm gonna digress. I watched this thing. It was about some guy came with this street fight club. It was boxing, and it was people had troubles in the streets, poor neighborhood. They'd come in and teach teach MMA, but they'd set up. You got beef with this guy, fine. We'll go in the ring, 2-3 minute round. Like, fine, let's do that. Keeps someone from getting stabbed in the fucking neck.
Yeah, it works.
You know, over some shit that. All right, let's just throw some punches.
They had that in France because there's a lot of Thai boxing in France, and then the hoods were fighting through fighters.
Yeah.
So when they had a beef, they had the best one, and then they get in the ring, and then if you lose, you get your ass whooped twice.
Yeah.
But there was one way to do it.
But
Anyway,
all I could think of though is like I ain't never had any beef with anyone in my weight class. Like, so I always wonder how that's going to go. It's like if we want to settle this,
look, it's the best fighters from the hood. Like you choose whoever. Like anyway, but the whole point of that was that what we want is to change the way coaching is done.
Yeah.
It's not putting a new banner on the stuff. Like we had someone who said CrossFit. I remember the seminar, CrossFit is a great product, StrongFit is a great product. I was like, oh, fuck me.
Totally
did you just say that?
Makes no sense.
Yeah. It's a way of learning. It's not...
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, by the way, like, understand how this works. Like the podcast, why do I go into complicate stuff? So they leave my mind. Mm-hmm. It's my therapy, my way of putting the ideas out there so that I can free space in my own mind to study more. So it's about me.
Well, and once it's there,
not you guys, it's for me.
And once it's there, then there's room for us and everybody out there to experiment. There's much feedback that comes back from these concepts that gets solidified after we've talked about it, put it out there. You experiment, we all experiment with it. Other people experiment. We get feedback. We understand it better now that it's out there in the world because it's better to be used.
Right, but again, it's to be used.
Yeah.
I mean, not copied, not memorized. It's to be applied.
Yeah.
Like the fucking openers. Like you want to get better, you want to understand StrongFit better, get good at the openers.
Yeah.
At all of them.
How long has it been now? What is the first one? Bicep opener was the first one.
Bicep opener.
4 or 5 years, right? Yeah. There's still people that can't do the bicep openers.
Or they do it and they do it with collars. And I'm like, yeah, but so you want to be in this position, which is the bottom of the dip with collars. That's cute, but when you go to do an actual dip, if you have your whole body weight,
you've been doing the shit for 2 years.
Yeah.
Why are you still using collars?
Yeah.
Anybody doing something 2-3 times a week will get stronger.
Yeah.
At least.
Even if you're doing it incorrectly, you'll know right away if you're doing it incorrectly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but at least by now you should be able to build on weight.
Well, but I do think that's that version, like we talk about, where you're thinking about your state.
Can we talk about this for a second? Can we think about that for a second? Because I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that I think. Like somehow we directed people incorrectly toward, even on the sled, to think about what they do.
Yeah, I think to constantly analyze.
Overanalyze and
I think there's a thoughtfulness to the things that I think come out of StrongFit, and that comes from I think not being willing to accept things just because they've always been done a certain way, which requires you to think analytically, think outside the box, be aware. We're always talking presentness, but that doesn't mean that you're only thinking. And thinking about a thing is very often the fucking problem.
But I say this
sometimes.
I know he's looking at the.
Dude, I'm about to bro.
No, not bro, sister.
Sister.
I call everyone bro.
Okay. She's not a dude, I'm just saying. Yeah.
Hey now, there's wires. Come on, kiddo. Don't make me cat grab you. I know you hated that when the vet did it.
Just grab her under and then she'll follow. Yeah, exactly.
That's where the Sharpies are.
No, she's very easy. Just give it to me.
No, but that's what I constantly say.
Scars all over his fucking hands. He's telling me she's easy.
He's like,
I do not have cat scar. That is not true. She's a fluffy little thing.
It's about acting, not analyzing. So being present, being aware, all these things require you to not be analyzing. It requires you to be acting. Mm-hmm. And we say this over and over again, and yet people still somehow decide to analyze.
Yeah, this is what I don't understand is how can you know what happened to you during a burn the question session? When did you have the time or capacity to think about what you were feeling outside of I'm dying?
Fire, pure fire.
Right, like when you're on the sled past the first 5 seconds and everything burns, how the fuck do you internalize that? Because the only thing I want is to leave my body, not enter it. Yeah. And so when people give me like a very precise description of their burn the questions, I was like, dude, I've blocked that shit out so much because I don't want any of it. Like who wants that type of pain anyway? That's the point is burning the question, not have more.
Yeah.
So you do a burn the question session and come up with 16 more questions. Do you understand that you failed?
Yeah.
At the point. It's in the title, by the way. It says burn the questions. So you not grow the session, grow the questions. It's literally burn the questions.
Yeah, it's meant to reduce that specific is meant to reduce everything to a very simple state, which is
where nothing is solved, but nothing matters.
Yes. It is just all there, and that's the issue. Is it's like, oh, well, you need someone to explain that better to you? No.
But how do you explain burn the questions?
Yeah.
This is, I don't want to be a dick, right, on the community and stuff like that. But when they come with questions about a burn the question session, every time I'm like, do you not see the problem with your question?
Yeah, the logistics on the meters or the in-between time, there's a lot of those things.
No, but even they say, I didn't feel anything. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's
what were you doing?
Yes, how?
Were you just staring at it, trying to make it move?
I feel like I didn't fight enough. I'm like, do another one.
Yeah.
Push harder, but I can't.
But you see that over and over again where people, again, it's a finger pointing thing, right? So they always want to have somebody to blame, and you see that constantly.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the fitness industry has come in. That's where there's a new, different diet every 6 to 8 weeks. There's new programming. There's new this, new that, because every 6 to 8 weeks they go, oh, that didn't work. They're like, well, of course it doesn't work because version 2.0 is here. You know what I mean? And so it's always that constant. I need to tick the boxes. Like I have a client who's doing the fit template, and he's like, well, this is what's happening. And I'm like, okay, so during the warm-ups, work on these muscles. And he goes, well, the template says to do this. And I was like, yeah, but that's what Julien is doing. That doesn't mean that that's what you're doing.
I explained in a template that that's not what the warm-up is. I literally put the words, this is what I'm doing. That doesn't mean that's what you should be doing.
Right.
I actually put that in a template. No, of course they didn't read it. Of course not.
But you know what I mean? Like it's those things. Like I have another client, and I'm like, did you go heavy enough? He's like, well, I feel like I could have gone faster. And I was like, so why didn't you? Like at some point, it's like, you can't blame me. Like that's the first thing is like, this is you doing the shit. I'm just telling you, I want you to go die. So go fucking die. Get as close to death as you can on the fucking sled. It's not that difficult.
Yeah.
And then they always come back. They're like, well, I wasn't sore. And I was like, I never said you were going to be sore.
Yes.
I just said, I want you to feel like you're going to die right afterwards.
Well, there's something Richard had said recently. It was like the exercise is the byproduct of what the whole intent of the workout is, of where you're at, of the
Just
function
the way
of your
to get
movement,
there.
everything.
So how?
And so every time if you look at a program and it's like, well, wait, I don't have these. Should I use dumbbells? And I'm like, dude, at this point, come on. You know what I mean? Like that is the problem.
But that is the problem right there, because like, let's say you do a chest stuff, right? It's not dumbbell or barbell. That's not the first question that shall come to mind. First question that should come to mind is like, did you use your chest?
Yeah.
Because we said find the pecs. Well, did you find them? Did you feel them? Are they warm? Did you get a pump? No. Well, how about we talk about that?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like that's the problem with always, as usual, the templates and using the words and all that shit. Is people just want a ABC without putting they're putting in work, but they're putting the wrong. Just one type of work. There's another type of work that is required. Is you understanding, experimenting with the shit.
Right.
Like it's about you, not us. Like you're not gonna be us. On all that shit, the lactate, you're not gonna understand. I got news for you. 99% of you. Like I talk to some people that are.
Is all you need.
But I talk to people that are very, very high in those things, and they don't. I'm teaching them lactate now.
Yeah.
They go like, oh, that's interesting. And because they're so hyper specialized, they just don't have the background to. I mean, so most likely you're not gonna get it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Just know it's out there. I'm explaining why it's out there for my own reason, and it's for me, not for you, mostly. But what you need to understand is how to do the openers. To do that, you need to know how to engage your chest.
Yeah.
How to train hard.
That too.
And just go hard.
But if you ask us the questions like, how do I go harder? Do you understand what you're asking? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we can't answer that
Why
one.
are you asking me?
Right. And how
Do you want
me
to watch me go hard so you can
And by
go
the way,
harder?
how do you want me to answer that one?
Yeah.
How do you want me to answer you? Unless you want me to be mean to you, I don't know what to tell you as to why you can't push hard enough. Am I not in fight? You just asked.
Yeah.
If you're asking me if you're in fight or not, the answer is you're in flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I do the same thing with the protocol a lot.
Yeah.
Well, are you saying I should not have this? It's like, yes, I said it 216 times already.
Yeah.
Like carbs when you train. But what about this? I'm like, we're already in the wrong conversation. You do whatever the fuck you want. Like, this is the part, me, where I struggle the most. I'm like, you all do what you want. It just don't put me in it. Like, you know what I mean? It's the same thing with the name. It's like, Steal the shit. I'm all for it. There's plenty of people stealing our stuff right now, not giving us credit. All right, steal the shit. Just don't use the name, because if you fuck it up, I don't want to be responsible for it. It's hard enough to be responsible for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Without
Were we supposed to jump and laugh at that at the same time?
Yeah, exactly. So they know. Like, it's hard enough, you know what I mean, to be an adult for myself, and then I have the other fucking kid to take care of. This is not what this is.
Yeah.
Fight Club, man.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, Fight Club was what? So you can discover yourself. That was the entire point. Nothing is fixed, but nothing matters.
Right.
A thing that we see a lot, though, is there will be sometimes people want to speak just to be heard. And that comes from when people are being coached. Sometimes they want to speak to your coach. But when you're coaching, you really got to be mindful of that trap, too. When you're coaching, if you're just talking to be heard, it's really not that useful. I think
it's more of they want to piggyback off a name to have credibility because they don't have value within themselves.
I agree.
So like that was a couple years ago, I was out in a party and I came home and there was an Instagram live talking about certain things that pissed me off quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I started to comment on there and the guy came back with, "Oh, so you're a StrongFit guy." And I said, "This isn't a StrongFit guy. This is me speaking my opinion. Like, don't you dare put me in with StrongFit. Just because I work with Julien and everything else, these are my opinions, my biases, not Julien's." He would have responded completely different.
Yeah.
Maybe towards the same manner, but this is me speaking. I would never go, "I'm a StrongFit coach," or "I'm the head trainer of StrongFit," or "I'm Richard."
Because that doesn't give you, that's not any value to you.
Exactly.
I'm always myself. And so when people want to piggyback is because they don't have value, strength in their own values, and confidence in who they truly are as a coach. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing that we keep trying to tell people is like, you guys have to learn this stuff so that it's you coaching it, not
you have to be yourself
regurgitating
first.
what we're doing.
You have to be you coaching, not going back to you don't teach the squat. You teach someone to squat. It's the same thing from the other side. You're not coaching it. You are coaching.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not a person coaching, it's you coaching.
And I think in Richard's case, and maybe a lot of what maybe we're trying to avoid necessarily with making sure that we keep the name safe out of it, is this weird like guilt by association thing that people have with coaching, and even speaking your opinion is a matter of like, oh, well, now that's attached to everyone who's ever been attached to, and that's weird. But on the other side is I think that it can be very positive for you once you realize that you don't need to be a StrongFit coach. And frankly,
there is no such thing.
Exactly. But frankly, you shouldn't even consider yourself a CrossFit coach. If you coach CrossFit,
you do CrossFit.
You should
You're
be a
not
coach.
A CrossFitter.
Right. CrossFit is a methodology and a set of tools that you use, and there should be other things that are giving inputs into your coachness.
And you are not
coachness,
a CrossFitter.
coachhood.
But I think that's really the death of the fitness industry was that. Look at personal training certifications. Like I got one the other day on my Instagram ads. I don't know why it came up, but it was $25 and you're a personal trainer certified around the world. And you're like, what the fuck do you get for $25?
That's how I got mine.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's global.
That's the 1 degree I
have. You know what I mean? Or if you go to France, it's like you need to have this state, this nationwide certified thing. But once you start to look at that, all they're doing is covering their asses. Yeah. Like if you have a person that is in this percentage of body fat and they have this skill level and this and that, you do 2 sets of 20 for 5 exercises, you stretch them for 35 minutes and that's it. Mm-hmm. And all that these organizations are trying to do is going, that nobody's going to get hurt. Well, fuck yeah, nobody's going to get hurt, but nobody's going to get results either.
It's being a chef that doesn't taste his own food.
Yeah.
There's
that just makes the recipe and say, I did a recipe.
Well, and that box checking, those quick education, the I just need certs on certs thing is a... Oh fuck! Am I stupid? Did I forget what I was going with?
No.
But it's one of those things where I think it's there for the sole purpose of protecting liability.
Yes,
exactly.
Let's be honest.
That's more valuable to your insurance company and your municipality. Yeah. That is not a scheme in which the profits are made to come out of imparting great education. Right. That is there because it is meant to be ironclad for litigation, ironclad to give you the right to do it in your city. It is as much like taking a fucking plumber's or electrician's certification test and you're to contract in your city does not mean you are any good at being an electrician or a plumber. I have seen it. I've seen morons take those tests, and that is not where those people learn to be plumbers or electricians. It's not. That's where they get the fucking right to do it.
Right.
And this is...
But that's the core of the
always
issue
the
right
issue
there.
with those
But
things.
you know how they sell it? They'll say, well, you need to start somewhere. And that's not true, because that's not where you start.
Yeah.
You start by doing it.
Yeah.
Like, you want to be a personal trainer. Have you done bodybuilding for 5 years?
Have you
Right.
trained at all?
Do you come from an athletic background? Some type of stuff. And if you don't, have you had 5 years in the gym yourself? Like, I'm sorry, but that should be a minimum.
Yeah.
If you've not read Flex magazine,
Right.
at some point when you were 18, what the fuck are you in training for?
And if you haven't experimented,
sorry,
like if
I'm
you just
not
keep
being an
following programs, like what the fuck are you doing? Like the
Yes.
first thing I did was I had Flex magazine and bodybuilding magazine, and I would see the programs, and then I would start doing it. I was like, I don't like this. So then I started doing supersets on everything I was doing, because it was more towards like the high intensity CrossFit style, because it was more fun. But you were constantly experimenting, going, holy shit,
Dude,
that
But
was...
I know why. Well, I know the pitfall, because I did Dorian Yates' program for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course I did.
All right, let's do Meathead confessions. I did. I think on 3 separate occasions, I did one of Rich Piana's
Yeah.
Oh, there you
workout
go.
things that I don't even think he did. Like
course not.
logistically, there was this thing.
At least Dorian Yates was
There
doing
was
the
this
shit.
thing that I am pretty certain it was relatively light weights. And there was this thing that I did that I think was something crazy. It was like 250 reps each of like bicep curls and tricep extensions. But
with the right gear.
but then also with skull crushers, I'd have to look it up again. And then there was another thing that he would do that I just did. I fucking R.I.P. Rich Piana, by the way. What a fucking treasure. But I'm on.
Rest in
Let's
peace, rest in
be
peace.
honest, man. That dude went for it. You're gonna be it, just be it, and he did it. But this shit was ridiculous. He would do these things. He explained the principle behind it.
There's a bunch of guys that call him the blackest dude ever. It was so funny. Like, he was a black pro bodybuilder, because he was a very, very good friend of him.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to show you the interview. It was so good.
So I would do these things. I think it was also another like 150 reps of whatever your problem muscle is to just get a really painful stretched out pump immediately before bed.
There you go.
What?
Yeah. And then you go right, like that is what you do before you go to bed. So
How
you're
the fuck
just,
do you sleep?
you're just with
Well, who
pain.
cares, right?
So you
Yeah.
do
With pain.
But
You get stronger.
don't get me wrong. There was some wild shit about, blood nutrients, and then when you sleep, but whatever. The point is whatever that was, I thought that looks stupid.
Let me do
It's
it.
probably pretty harmless in the grand scheme of things. And I just want to see what it's like to churn through something like that. And I'll be goddamned if I don't learn something out of that.
All right,
And it was fun.
Right. Meathead confession. Dorian Yates at some point went from 2 set to 1 set.
Yeah.
He rocked my world. Because I did this program exactly for a year.
Right.
And then I read the new Flex magazine where he has his new stuff, which he has been doing for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now when he goes to 1 set, and instead of like 5 days, he switched to 4, whatever the fuck he was. I was wrecked for 2 days. It's like, but then I've not been doing the right program.
Yeah.
Because he's done been in shit
Yeah.
for months. So what have I been doing? That's how stupid one can be.
But that's when you
I'm
start
18,
looking-
so I have excuses. But
No, but that's like when I was doing like at Cohen, and it's like 2 sets, and you do 7 warm-up sets to your 2 sets. To some point where I was like, there's no way that's what he means.
Yeah.
So then finally you start going to a point like, I'm not doing 7 sets. You just do 2 sets. But I would send that program out to people who want to get into powerlifting and everything. And it was the same thing. They would do like 10 warm-up sets to get to the 2 working sets. I was like, no, just...
no, because you don't lift 800.
Yeah. So like maybe like the first couple weeks, but then afterwards it should be 2
By the way,
sets.
how many times
Challenge it.
did I tell people not to do the full 10 weeks?
Yeah.
You stop, 8-coin program, love it, you stop at 7.
Yeah.
Maybe
Stop
8.
when you start not doing it right. Or when you start falling way short.
But I cannot tell you how many people
crash so
did
hard.
the full 10 weeks because it's, even though I told them, don't do it,
Yeah.
do it anyway, crash, and ask me what went wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when did you stop being a human being?
Well-
When, like, accountability and what's it called? Responsibility has to come into play in this world at some point. I mean,
We, I think that the experimentation thing is it's so much fun. There's so much fun out there. We clowned on the Smolov and stuff like that before, but I'll be goddamned if who's done it? Me? Who's tried to string them together twice? Me. Who got hurt, kind of wrecked every time? Me.
Who did it along with CJ's Invictus program?
Yes.
Me.
No. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But who added it to the regular program? Yeah.
But that's how.
That's why we say it's stupid. Because we fucking did it.
Yeah, and you can tell me that it's stupid.
It is.
But you can.
Yeah.
But someone off the street who's
never done
it, it's like, well, why do you think it's stupid?
Or they have a 135 back squat.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. At that point,
which is why you did it twice in a row.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, because you back squat 135.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And it did.
It worked for me.
It gave you
went from
what
135 to 155.
But it does give you exactly what you want, which you're going to check a number off the box at the expense of
Kill yourself.
everything.
Yeah. You know, did you do that shit on deadlift? Because I tried to.
I've seen these like Smolov hybrid bench things that are like really hefty volume that are really. I have a buddy that did it, and it pushed. He was a big bencher, and it pushed his shit like. I think he was about like 4 strong bencher. So the needle on the bench doesn't move very far above a certain point. He was about 440, 450 pounds. I think he got to like 490 on like 10, like a big boost, like almost a big hefty boost.
And then he died.
And then, so he gets to the end, he's like, shoulders are a wreck.
Yeah.
He said he started having tricep and elbow trouble. Yeah. And he was like,
I tore things.
But also, the nice thing for him was, all he ever wanted to do was say he could bench about 500. So we got the 490. Now it's probably, now it's less than that. But
you always add 5 to 10% when you're talking about it, right?
I'm also sure, though, that then the next time he might take a more reasonable push, he might make his way there without killing himself, maybe. But if that's your only goal, fine, fuck it. Go do it. Whatever.
I still think our way will allow you to get to it, maybe 2 years later, but at least sustain it and go higher. I still believe that.
But what I am saying is the Smolov is ridiculous, and we've all done it.
Yes.
So sometimes
which is why I can say it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I've done Dorian's program. I don't trust any.
By the way, did you ever read the Smolov program and go, you know what, I'm going to stand up and present this in front of other people as the Smolov program? No, you just did it, and we're like, that was wild, and you speak on your experience.
By the way, there's a lot of talk about the fact that there was no Smolov ever. This was a made-up guy. We can't find a Smolov strength coach that ever came with that program. It seems like this is someone punking people, and he just blew up. We can't find the Smolov strength coach, dude. The guy, we can't find
some skinny dude, some skinny dude in the Ukraine.
Make that shit up.
Give me a catchy Eastern European name, and let's throw together.
No, but we don't know where it started.
Which, by the way, I've met people that will hire a Latina model, or depending on who they're searching for on the internet to buy these programs, ab programs or booty programs, they'll hire certain models, build everything out, and sell the shit out of it. And these dudes don't even train. They have no clue.
And 6
they
weeks
don't go to the
later,
gym. And so all they do is they just upsell this shit, sell it,
and let's be honest, this is a sizable percentage of the fitness world. Same thing on diet. You are being sold. How many, again, not naming names, but how many people do we know that are selling nutrition programs, everything, where they themselves are getting fucking wrecked on it?
Yeah.
Like, it's not working. And because that's the point I was making. Like, I remember when a girl called me fat on Facebook.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, first of all, Lactate doesn't care about my body fat percentage, but I could just do more cardio.
Right.
And be leaner. Like right now, I'm leaner. Yeah, but I also do a fuck ton more abs than I used to do. So, but the protocol hasn't changed. Like, all I could do is, if I were to start to go on growth hormone, a little bit of testosterone, a little bit more cardio,
you could just like train all the ones in the world,
exactly, and go like, see, the protocol works. Yeah. Do you understand, guys, that this is what the fitness industry is? Yeah. Does that make the protocol better or worse? It doesn't change anything about the protocol. It was never based on how I look. It was based on the principles that I enunciated. Yeah. This is what kills me the most about that. And that's the problem when you don't try the shit, is you're going to repeat something that is being sold by people that are a lot less ethical than we are.
And probably less handsome. Let's
be honest.
And they'll charge a shit
beard. That's why. If I could have that beard, I'd be like having.
Julien's been on me since I shaved this fucking beard, and I'm like,
do you understand how jealous I am? Like, I can't grow hair.
It's been hot. It'll be long again in the winter.
No, but like, you can make like the whole braid Viking thing.
I know.
Oh man, I would be. It grows like every day. I'd be putting the oil.
It grows in a way where it makes my face look fat.
Right. So then braid it.
But you should go. You should go.
How much work it takes to braid though? It
takes
so long.
Yaya will do it.
It has to get so long.
Yaya will do it.
They do have that brush though now that straightens the pubic hair.
It's a lot. It's
make
a lot
it look
to do.
good.
It's a lot to do.
I'm so
I like
jealous.
to. It goes out so much here, so I have to get so much to keep it tight.
I've been wanting to grow one out for a year.
Some of us cannot do it. So
I've been wanting to grow mine for like at least a year, but every single time Day is like,
You give
I'm
up.
not kissing your pubic hair. Shave it.
Richard, your beard is as
No,
incredible as his hair, and it makes me so upset when he
But
shaves
listen,
either.
I agree. You should never shave.
I look.
Like a
I don't want to be rude, but
like
I
a
look.
Taliban fighter. That's
I
another
look
problem.
as a minority.
You do.
You are a minority.
Yes.
You do get a Middle Eastern look when you get your
Very.
beard looking.
Yeah, but like I think like if I were to give it a year, like it'd be a sick beard.
Imagine the Mexican Superman with a braided beard. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
That would look so good.
I know.
And I'm so jealous. At least I can live through you guys.
That's true.
Precariously, I
Mine
want to
is-
live through you guys, your beard.
Yeah,
My
this is-
beard,
this
my
is a
big
week.
beard will be back.
Look at that. I can't fucking grow hair.
It's better than having too
I
much
shaved
hair.
them like a year ago. They haven't grown back. Know what I mean,
It's better than having too much hair.
I don't know. I'm kind of jealous.
So, that's Fight Club rules for
Anywho,
StrongFit,
yeah.
guys.
Right. So, well, okay. Let's go back.
Yep.
If you're in a mentoring program or you're working one-on-one with us, you want to say power by StrongFit? Let's talk.
Yeah.
Ask us. I might be cool with that. Short of that, no. Steal the shit. Don't use the name.
Be smart about it. If I were to go do a thing and be like, oh, I'm doing a X double triple Y program seminar at my gym, you would probably be pissed off if you were the owner of that, right? So just be smart about it.
Well, it's like if I took Stan Efferding's vertical diet seminar. If I took a vertical diet seminar, then when I come home, I'm not going to start teaching the vertical diet
And
as
charge
the
for
vertical diet and charge for it.
And charge
I
for
will
it.
teach nutrition as what I take from the vertical diet to I believe
Right.
to be true,
Exactly.
and what I understand. I will teach nutrition the way I see it to be
you
fit.
represent
if you
As
do
me
that,
teaching you, not Stan.
and if you do that, I know you thought about it.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
I want you to come up with your own names, not yours. Ours, like the phenogenetic, the wheel and everything, because if you come up with your own terms, at least you put in that much effort into it. So I know at least you thought about it. If you just charge people to repeat our stuff, how is that not dishonest, by the way?
That's plagiarism.
Right.
Yeah.
That's plagiarism 101.
That's totally unethical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and on top of it, what pisses me off is not even that you make money, because go make money. It's that you're gonna fuck it up. You will, because you don't get it, because a lot of the stuff is so advanced.
And then if you do, when someone has the opportunity to come across Julien explaining it on a StrongFit platform, a StrongFit seminar, StrongFit videos, they're going to be like, oh, I heard about this stuff from this one guy and it was fucking horseshit. But it's really just because they didn't know what they were saying.
Yeah, but it's like the people that come to the seminar or come to an assessment with me and they've been taught by another coach or by a video online or whatever, and they come and do the oblique opener. And I do the oblique opener, they're like, holy shit, that's what the oblique... I'm like, you've been doing something else the entire time because you don't truly understand the power of the oblique opener, the bicep opener, the shoulder opener, all that stuff, because you're putting in the time without being present in that time.
Yeah.
So start with that. You know who can teach the advanced shit? Me.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Me. If it's not me, don't teach it.
Yeah.
That's all, because it's far too advanced. Like, you can't teach the shit that I talk about because there's so much background that you don't understand the depth of the background necessary to understand the shit I talk about.
Yeah. What I will say
in the
is-
meantime, what I want is that teach the oblique opener, which is probably, that's the first,
Right.
everybody should know.
Yeah.
Like, how much time have you spent on the oblique opener? Let's be honest. Like, if it's a minute here and there, you don't know shit about it.
Right. Yeah. Well, I was like, we were at the museum the other day and we're looking at art and everything, and we're at the Banksy, and I'm looking at this shit and I'm like, well, that's cool.
Right.
And Julia, my cousin, was here visiting. She like starts going in depth about the meaning of the chimpanzee and the this, and I'm like, you got all that from that?
Yeah.
She goes, yeah.
Yeah, because she's
But
not
she
major.
enjoys it. It's, you're like, okay, well then, that's the same thing that we do with movement.
Yeah.
We put so much more behind
That's
the
a very good
canvas.
analogy, by the way. You don't understand painting.
Yeah.
You don't. Because I've seen like true like masters explaining a painting, and then once they explain, I understand. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I did not see it at first.
Yeah.
But once they explain it, you go like, oh, there's so much into it.
Yeah.
You have no idea how much work is in a painting from those masters, unless someone who understands the shit explains it to you.
Yeah.
You don't. You think you do because everybody thinks now they all
And
think
then-
they understand. You don't.
And then if you pick up a brush and see.
That's another problem.
That's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole other problem.
I see it all the time. We've talked about this before. If you see like a musician, the average guitar player playing on the street over here with a bucket,
he's so much better.
If you actually sit down and watch what they do, or if you just hear it, you're like, oh, it's a song I like that. That's neat. And then you see them switch to another totally different something, and all this from memory. Boom, boom, boom. And then you look at how they're playing, and then though. You pick up the fucking guitar, and then you realize, oh my fucking God, the level of what it took for me to hear, 4 seconds of something that was just pleasing to the ear is something that you are so far away from, and how dare you reduce it?
You see that everywhere, like in jiu-jitsu, black belt. Like I can always tell you who a black belt is from the way he moves.
Yeah.
I don't need the technique that he's using. Just watching him handle a white belt.
Right.
Like the way he moves his hip. Like,
comfort.
Yeah. And then, like he's on the side and there's nothing the white belt can do. Yeah. Because his leg is here, his leg is there, like there's no hole and he's just waiting there and he's just directing the guy. You go, that's a black belt.
Yeah.
And he hasn't done anything. He's just, his waiting game tells you he's a black belt. Do you know how many hours you need just for that? And that's not attacking, that's just his waiting game. Like already you can smell the mastery.
Yeah.
Right. That is, and so do you want to learn that position? Is that what you're going to mimic? But in the wrong context, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right. So that is mastery. It's the fucking ramen noodle guy and everything. Everything has to be earned. Sweat and blood. Like the oblique opener, man, is so many hours. What you guys, because you see us and we're always laughing and we look the way we look, you don't understand the number of hours that we have put in this work constantly. Richard have put so many hours of work before he was even with me within StrongFit.
Yeah.
Right? When I was coaching him, the number of hours that he put, that's why I wanted him to come with me. It's because I was like, he put in the hours, but you don't understand the number of hours that it takes. So because you've taken the seminar and even Coaches Week and you've done this, is like, you're a blue belt.
Yeah.
You're not a black belt. If you're teaching the shit using the term, that means you consider yourself a black belt in StrongFit. Right. There's 2 of them and they're here. Right? Purple belt, brown belt, black belt. Everybody else, maybe purple.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Because it takes so much fucking work.
Yeah, and that's and the thing is the status of where you're at on that spectrum does not fucking matter. Get to work. That's the way
that's
it is.
all it is. And I never stop working.
Yeah.
So steal the shit.
Yeah.
Don't use a name.
Yeah, and the emphasis really is steal it. Get out there and fucking use it.
Please
on the
steal
ground.
it. Yes.
Implement it.
Please.
Yeah.
Make people better.
Yes, and if you never want to say you got it from StrongFit, all right, I'm cool.
Yeah, and the fact is, once you worry less about how you're going to brand it, you're probably already on the right track.
It allows you to have so much more freedom, at least, to not be judged.
And by the way,
this is my StrongFit class. Why isn't it just your class that you're teaching?
Exactly.
Why is this class done this way? Right. It's done because maybe in this class I prioritize intensity and structure. Great. This is my intensity and structure class, for Christ's sake. Like, whatever. Like,
but that's the
worry about that.
But a personal trainer that is actually good in that sense. It's once everybody's a personal trainer, what's the difference after that?
Yeah.
Well, the way you do it.
Yeah.
Like, but you go like a Charles Glass at Venice Beach, like a Venice Gold Gym, who's world famous for training bodybuilders and everything. There's no Charles Glass method. There's no, he's just technically he's a personal trainer.
Yeah.
But he became a master at bodybuilding. Right. So that's who you want to be. You want to be Charles Glass.
Yeah.
Not the fucking guys with the 12, like, I attended this. You had the kettlebell. I remember back in the day, kettlebell CrossFit certification, and then this,
and the list of every
right, and then they put the whole fucking list, like it changes anything, really. By the way, I have none of this.
Yeah.
I have no I have the $25 personal trainer certification. I did my own one too, by the way.
Level 1.
L1.
Exactly, we're all L1s. I think that's the only thing I've ever done in fitness. I don't think I even have the NSM stuff.
I had ACE. My ACE certification.
No, I didn't.
Legit.
I have a baccalaureate in France. That's as far as I went. Anyway, I have no masters. I have no degree of any kind. Yeah, and by the way, you don't see me quoting like, I did Mobility World or all the shit, because I'm like, I'll figure it out myself. Thank you.
Yeah.
You don't have to be me, but you know what I mean? Like, at least be you.
Yeah.
I mean?
Absolutely.
All right, guys.
I like it.
Thanks for joining us. We will see you guys next time.
Later, guys.
Happy birthday, Rich.
Yes, sir.
If you want to support the podcast, head on over to podcast.strongfit.com. There you could donate or join the YouTube channel. Also, go to strongfit.com. There you're going to find our online courses, education, and all of our seminar dates should be there as well. Head on over to strongfitlibrary.com to keep up to date on everything Julien's been working on. And follow StrongFit1 on Instagram and Tyler F. and Stone.